Few developments have helped government agencies innovate faster or more effectively than the evolution of the cloud. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to talk about the cloud's impact on the public sector and how that's fostered innovation is Brian Merrick, Director of Cloud Programs at the Department of State. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So let me start by just kind of asking, how has the cloud enabled your agency to make significant improvements in the services it delivers to the public and on a global basis, no less?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the move to the cloud has been huge in terms of improving uh, IT alignment with the mission. As you can imagine, we have a highly complex mission set, with over 273 posts overseas, 34 different bureaus, a lot of functional activity happening at every level of risk and level of interest. So as we move into the cloud, we're really able to move into delivery at the speed of the mission. And so moving out of that waterfall mentality and into using agile methodologies really pairs nicely with the cloud technology, so that now we're able to deliver applications that meet specific tailored business needs rapidly and make sure that those end state outcomes are really aligned from an IT perspective with what's happening at the mission level. We've seen huge advances in terms of providing decision support capabilities through data analytics, certainly better information around specific activities through workflow tools and data visualization tools. I think we're poised to see a huge increase in the use of bots, in AI and ML as we really start to mature from a business perspective. So it's helping us change our processes and improve our processes, become more efficient, and also be better stewards of resources. And then ultimately for the end consumer, which is the public, as we have services that impact the public, we're able to meet that expectation that folks have of a government experience that mimics what they have in their regular day-to-day life. And so we're definitely moving forward rather rapidly in that venue.
Talk a little about the primary technical technology challenges that the Department of State was facing in delivering services to the public, and how did the cloud kind of help you overcome some of them?
Well, as you can imagine, in the past, I think folks used a lot of spreadsheets and old websites and whatnot. And so actually trying to move information, move data from a platform and architecture standpoint in the back end, very challenging, right? So especially when you have a global audience. So as folks are typing into their screens and there's a huge delay, incredibly frustrating for people that are trying to interact with those services. And so by moving to the cloud, we're able to really become a lot more elastic in the capabilities we provide at the platform layer. And so really, especially for real-time processing needs, it's been a huge improvement. And so now as folks try to enter data and try to interact with our resources, they can do so in many respects a lot more efficiently. Obviously, there are still parts of the world where the internet penetration is poor, where infrastructure is still a challenge. And of course, we're still working through improvements to get through that. And I think we're going to continue to see those improvements over time on an infrastructure basis. But really that mirroring or sort of that marriage of application capability with the elastic capabilities of cloud, with single identities from a security standpoint, with improved infrastructure architectures in the cloud, we're really able to deliver that experience in a much more advanced way.
And can you describe maybe a couple of key outcomes that you can point to your management about how the cloud has allowed your agency to, achieve, greater service delivery compared to maybe where you were just a year or two ago?
Sure. I mean, certainly in response to some of the challenges we've had recently in terms of crisis management, we've been able to leverage cloud-based applications very rapidly to deliver capabilities so that we could ingest really critical information from people in the public realm that needed to be evacuated for instance, and then share that information through our analytics platforms with senior management so they could make real-time decisions based on data of what's happening on the ground in a way that just wasn't even possible 2-3 years ago. So that's been a huge improvement for us. And I think we're going to continue to see that kind of drive towards data capture leading to analytics packages to lead to decision outcomes, really changing the scope of how leadership really looks at IT across the department and how to leverage it. So it's definitely something we're excited about, and I think we're going to see more of that in the future.
And then lastly, Brian, what were one or two key lessons or maybe even surprises that you experienced moving to the cloud? And where do you plan to adopt additional cloud services next?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the greatest lessons learned is that, the cloud really mechanically operates completely differently than the on-premise environments. And so it's really important to have talented staff that understand the nuances of the technology and the art of the possible and how to leverage it to its best capability to meet outcomes. Also, we learned pretty early on that it's critical to also adapt your policy, especially around compliance. Those things just operate differently. The way you monitor, the way you secure, having a single identity provider across your multiple environments, those types of tactics and techniques are really important in having a successful implementation. And as well, the way we purchase cloud. So making changes to the procurement process, because it really is highly driven by the procurements that we make. So making sure we have the right terms and conditions in the agreements, that we scope that work appropriately, that we understand, how the failovers work and, how we can pull our data out if need be. Really critical components. And of course, funding as well, in terms of having good cost models for how to manage these types of activities at scale, whether it be a license-based implementation or a consumption-based implementation, and different nuances between those. So it really is a sea change, and it definitely represents a massive organizational change. And I think, to sum all that up, what it really culminates in is looking at IT modernization really as a change management opportunity versus just a tech refresh activity. And I think if organizations take it from that perspective, they'll be more prone to meet with success.
A lot of wisdom in that perspective as well. Well, Brian, Merrick, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join us and just share some of the things you've been learning at the Department of State in adopting cloud for the public service.
Thank you very much.